Happy Tuesday. Good morning, everybody. This is Jenny Gallagher with Joyful Heart Healthcare and Keto Nurses. And I'm glad to see y'all today. How's everybody doing? We'll give everybody a minute to find their notification and log on. So good morning, good morning. How is everybody? I have my coffee. Morning, Debbie Brown. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Betty. Good morning. Everybody's starting to see the notification. The numbers are climbing. So I'm glad everybody's getting on. I'm hoping that y'all are all having a great summer. School is starting back everywhere. If it hasn't already, it will in the next few days. So enjoy the last few days of summertime if you have that available. 72 and sunny, Debbie. That's awesome. You must be up in the mountains a little bit. It's kind of, sort of, because it's been like 100 everywhere else in the southeast. So, other Debbie's here. So yes, that means we're good to go, right? All right, ladies. Sometimes we have some men join us, but I'm glad y'all are here this morning. We are going to talk about car parts. Oh, Western Tennessee. Well, that's definitely a little cooler than Eastern Tennessee, I think. Anyway, we're going to talk about cars. I know this is probably not the best analogy for women to get, but it's the best one I can come up with. If anybody has a better analogy for this discussion, once we have it, shoot me a message and I'll do another video at some point and compare it to that. But this was the easiest for me because my husband has been a mechanic and I have helped him repair lots of our vehicles. So I understand some car things. And so it makes a really good analogy for what we're going to talk about today. Okay? So I want you to think about all the things that make your car go. Everybody gets to type something in today. So what makes your car crank, drive, move, run? Whatever you think helps your car work, type it in the comments, please. So Miss Betty says oil. Yep. Gotta have some oil. Gas, says Debbie. Yep. What else? If you just have gas and you just have oil, are you gonna go anywhere? We got a bowl full of oil and a bowl full of gas. Okay. What else do we need? Morning, Sandy. What makes your car move, go, run, crank, work? What about tires? Are you going to go anywhere without tires? Okay. What about an engine? Great, Misty. Yes, you got to have the engine to power it. Yep. So lots of things contribute to the workings of your car, right? Spark plugs got to give some spark and fire to the piston so they'll work. Yep. The battery is necessary to have the key work and all those electronic gadgets we love inside the car. Yep. All of those things. So now y'all are thinking, now you're starting to put this puzzle together. So it takes a lot of ingredients to make your car work. Well, your body is a lot like that car. You can't just put any old thing in the car to make it run. You can't put any old thing in your body and make it run. So one of my analogies is if you have a diesel truck and you put regular gas in it, is it going to work properly? Any of y'all ever have hubbies with diesels? Yeah, diesel fuel does not work the same as gasoline. You're right, Miss Betty. Same thing, if you try to put diesel fuel in a gas burning car, is it going to work? Nope. So when we think about the fuel for the car, we pay a specific amount of money to get a quality gasoline product or fuel for our vehicle, right? Okay. That's my point for our bodies. So you want to fuel your body in a healthy way. So not only did we discover, though, when we're talking cars, you need more than fuel to make that car work. Okay? So you need oil and spark plugs and engine and belts and radiators and hoses and all kinds of components. You even have to have water in your car, in your radiator. So without all of those things, those are cofactors, the car won't work right. Okay? You can't even get it to fire if you don't have a spark plug or a battery. Those things are required for you to flip that key over or punch that button and fire that engine up. Fire is what makes your car work. It burns the gasoline or the fuel, the diesel. So we want to optimize the function of our bodies, and we do that by using the right fuel and the right cofactors. Okay? We need specific nutrients. We've done supplement discussions before. This one's a little bit different. But if you want more supplement information, go back through the videos tab on the page and scroll down. It's been a long time ago, so go back and watch that. But today we're talking about how the things work together to make our bodies run, to make our cars run. So if you just put the cheapest, wateriest, messed up gasoline in your car, how's your car going to run? If you get on the highway with that kind of cheap gas in your car, what's going to happen when you floor it? It's going to cough. It's going to sputter. It might even completely die on you right in the middle of the highway, right? So we don't want to use that kind of fuel to fuel our bodies. We don't want the cheap stuff. We don't want those carbohydrates. We want our bodies fueled with healthy fats. Healthy fats are the ideal fuel for our body's system. Sandy, you're right. It's going to backfire. It's going to cough. It's going to spit. And it literally can just stop running right there in the middle of the road. I've seen that happen. But if we put in the body healthy fuel, then we're going to be a healthier person. The body is going to be able to use those fats to supply energy for the body so that you can function, so that you can blink, so you can wave your hand, wiggle your fingers, scratch your back, so you can do all of the things you do all day long. So you can work and function, type on a keyboard, ride a horse, run your race, bicycle down the highway. Whatever the work of your body is will be fueled by the fats you consume. Okay? If you are still eating carbohydrates, you're going to burn glucose. Glucose is on a 2-hour cycle, so every 2 hours you got to stop for fuel. How does that work when you're driving on a long trip? Do you really want to stop every 2 hours to fuel up and get gas? How effective is that for your trip? If you have a 10-hour drive and you have to stop 5 times to gas up, is that going to be a 10-hour trip? No. You're going to be looking at 12 hours-ish, 11 hours. It's going to take you a lot longer because you're having to stop every couple hours to get gas. What does that do for our bodies when we have to fuel every 2 hours? It literally is burning up extra energy and nutrients. It's a real waste of our effort to do that. So when you think about the fuel that your body needs, it's fat. It's not carbs. No matter what mainstream medicine has told us for the last 50 years, they've been wrong. None of their advice was based on any scientific data. If you believe that, shoot me a message and I'll send you the links. Okay? It started with the 7-country study, which turned out to really be 22 countries. And Ansel Keys just said, oh, well, this data doesn't fit, so we're going to chunk it over here in the trash. We're only going to report on the 7 countries that fit my theory. Is that the way we do science? Really? Well, that's where all our nutrition advice came from. Okay? So before that, we used fats to fuel our bodies. We didn't have massive bags, boxes, and cans in the grocery stores. There were some, but it was nowhere near what we have today. Well, those bags, boxes, and cans are faulty fuel. They create backfires, coughing, and sputtering when they're put in the system. We don't feel well. We have brain fog. We have less energy. We don't function well. We have muscle aches and joint pains. We sleep terribly. We don't fuel our bodies with appropriate high quality octane fuel, which are fats. Ideal fat is butter. Other fats that are really ideal include the fat on your meat. So if you're buying 95% lean, stop it. Buy the 70%. Get a little more fat in your burger, in your meat. The fats are great resources for the body to use, not only for fuel, but for cell division and function. Okay? So think about the fuel you're using to fuel your body. Next, you want to think about, well, what makes the gas work? Well, does the gas work by itself? No, it has cofactors of oil and water and fire and spark and all of the things that come together under the hood of your car to make it work. So those cofactors are what we're really going to talk about mostly today. So the same way that your car can't run just on gas, it needs oil and water and all these other components. Your body needs all those other nutrients too. So you won't function properly without adequate iron intake. Where does iron come from? It comes from red meat. If you don't consume red meat, you need to rethink that. God gave us a fueling, nutrient-based system within our bodies to use the food available. Okay? You will never consume adequate iron on a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet, even if you're taking pills. The problem with iron pills, in my iron video, we go into great detail on this. So if you want more information, look that up. But the big problem with iron is it's never meant to be a long-term supplement. Iron long-term can destroy your liver health. Okay? You don't take iron unchecked. If you do not have a specific iron and ferritin level, you should never be taking iron. Never. It's never an okay supplement to use unchecked. Okay? Get your prescriber, make an appointment with me, go in your portal and look. What was your ferritin level when it was drawn? You cannot trust a CBC. You can't trust a CBC. The CBC will not be impacted by ferritin and iron levels until they're life-threateningly low. Does anybody want them that low before you see an effect? No. Do you want your car engine light to go red because you didn't put oil in it or change the oil appropriately? No, that's a costly expense in more ways than just money. Especially if you have people in the car with you when that car dies on the highway or far, far away from home. So you want to think about all of the fuels and nutrients the body needs to function. If you have been told specifically that your iron or ferritin are low enough that you need a supplement, then you need to know what its cofactors are. What helps iron be absorbed? Anybody want to guess? What is a cofactor for iron? If you put iron into your body, whether in the form of a piece of ribeye steak, hamburger, or roast, what is a cofactor that will help your body absorb and utilize the iron in a much more effective way? Y'all out there? Y'all awake? Y'all not paying attention this morning? I know there's some nurses on. I saw you. What is a cofactor for iron absorption? Who wants to throw a guess out there? There's a couple, so chances are you'll guess at least one of them right. What is a cofactor for iron? How can we improve iron absorption and use within the body? Nobody's going to guess? How about vitamin C? Way back in my bachelor days, learning about nutrition, one of the things they taught us in RN school was if the patient in the hospital has asked for steak, encourage them to drink their lemonade with their steak so that they improve the absorption of their iron. Now I know better than to tell them to drink their lemonade because that's pretty useless vitamin C. There's almost none in there and it's not very beneficial. So now I know to tell people to take a vitamin C supplement. Orange juice is not okay. Do not fall for that myth. There's almost zero vitamin C in pasteurized or homogenized vitamin C. It's been heated so much that the vitamin C literally poofed into the air. There's no vitamin C there. So all of it that's sold on the market today, unless you are squeezing it yourself, has no vitamin C. So you can stop wasting your money on vitamin C drinks and just use a vitamin C tablet or powder, not a gummy. Okay, so vitamin C helps iron absorption. Debbie, you're almost there with the fat answer. I'm going to draw that line for you now. So fat doesn't necessarily help iron absorption, but there's another cofactor for iron that requires some fat for its absorption. Iron requires vitamin D as a cofactor. We talk about this some in the iron video from before, so go back and watch it if you want more iron help. But yes, vitamin D is essential to iron's absorption. And what is a cofactor for vitamin D? Ding, 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 you're right, Debbie, fat. So without fats coming in at the same time as we take our vitamins and supplements, we are not going to absorb all of the nutrition that the body actually needs. You're going to waste a lot of money, effort, and time taking supplements without the cofactors, okay? I tell patients all the time that supplements are meant to be supplementary food. They're not to be taken in place of food or instead of food or away from food. Vitamins and supplements always, 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 always go in between bites of your meal. Okay? You want fatty meals, not just cereal and skim milk. If you are taking your vitamins with oatmeal or cereal, there's not going to be any sufficient fats there. Therefore, fat-soluble vitamins like A, E, D, and K will not be absorbed. So cofactors matter. Fats are cofactors for a lot of our nutritional use. So it's really important that we consume adequate fats. Well, I started late because the train was going by. Well, I didn't even get 20 minutes in and there's another train going by. So I apologize for the horn. But cofactors matter. Without cofactors, you're not going to absorb. I just saw a patient last week, who had a vitamin D level of 27, I think. She's been taking vitamin D 5,000 units daily for a long, long time, several years. But her vitamin D level is 27 on a high dose vitamin D. Why is that? Because she had no idea, nobody ever told her that she needed fats or other cofactors. What are vitamin D's other cofactors besides the fat? You have to have other cofactors for D to work. Who wants to list some of those cofactors? Vitamin D requires specific cofactors other than fat for optimal absorption and use. What are those? Anybody want to guess? Debbie says mag. Yes, magnesium is a major contributor to vitamin D absorption. It's a great supplement. It's great for brain health, for anxiety, stress, muscle health, gut health, lots of stuff. Terry, good. Vitamin K. K2 is essential for vitamin D absorption. But keep in mind, K2 is also a fat-soluble vitamin. So A, E, D, and K are the fat-soluble vitamins. Sometimes B12 works in fat-soluble pathways. Even though Bs are typically seen as water-soluble vitamins, there are several body processes that utilize those fats and B12, and without proper fat intake, sometimes that B12 won't be optimized either. So if you need a B complex, it needs to come in with your fatty meal too, to help with optimizing certain body processes, okay? So fats are really important for lots of things, but they're really important for nutrient absorption, okay? So we have iron that needs C and D. We have D that needs magnesium, K2, and fat. What helps protein be absorbed? Protein is the building block of the cell. Remember your biology teacher teaching you that? Your A&P teacher saying that 1,000 times that week? Proteins are the building blocks of the cell. Proteins are the building blocks of the cell. What helps protein get absorbed and utilized? What's a cofactor for protein? Nobody ever really thinks about this one, do they? And I only recently learned about it because I'm teaching this information to other nurse practitioners and providers around the country. And I ran across this piece of advice and I was like, duh, this makes really good sense. So now it's part of my routine education when I see patients. Anybody want to guess what a cofactor for protein absorption is? It's not fat per se, but it's related. Anybody want to guess? No guesses this morning for protein cofactors? Protein requires vitamin A. If you watched my butter video for a few weeks ago, you know that. Or maybe you don't remember that, but we talked about it then. Butter is a great source of vitamin A, and thus vitamin A is a benefit for protein absorption. It's a cofactor required for protein to be absorbed. So if I've seen you, or if you have lab results that indicate your protein, albumin, or globulin levels are on that lower side of the range, or even outside the range, I would seriously encourage you to look at your butter intake, your vitamin A intake. If you don't like butter or you think you can't have butter, then you need a vitamin A supplement with all meat intake. That's what it boils down to. You just need more support for getting the proteins to be absorbed. If you're doing all that and your proteins are still running low, then you want to look at gut stuff. And we have a whole gut video and inflammation video in the videos tab on the page. You're welcome to go back and check those out and see what all is there. Nina says, does the butter have to be grass-fed? No, you just get better quality butter. It's the same as putting high-octane gas or low-octane gas in your car. What do you want to use? What can you afford to use? I don't always buy grass-fed butter. It's expensive. Sometimes it's not even available. I was in the grocery store Sunday after church picking up a few things. OMG, the shelves were empty all over again. Like, there were one or two items here and there, sometimes completely empty. Sometimes I bought the only one that was sitting there. I was like, what happened to groceries? So I don't know what the heck's going on. But groceries cost money, and money is hard to come by sometimes. So Nina, use the best butter you can afford. That's my advice. I'm not the butter police, so use whatever butter you have available to you. We sometimes will buy, we have a local dairy just across the river in Iowa that sometimes has butter in our grocery stores. So when it's available, I get it because it's not much more expensive than the Walmart brand. But a lot of times I just buy the Walmart brand because that's what we can afford. So use whatever you can. But good question. Other questions. That's pretty much our discussion of cofactors. One thing I always want to reiterate 100,000 times is supplements never go in an empty stomach. An empty stomach happens if you take your vitamins 5 minutes or more before your food or after your food. The organ we call the stomach that sits just below your rib cage, that organ empties in about 10-ish minutes after eating. So if you are eating your food and then cleaning up the kitchen, running to answer the phone, chasing the kids out the door, and then you're like, oh, I need to take my vitamins, you are now taking your vitamins on an empty stomach. That's not good. They're not going to be absorbed appropriately. Vitamins and supplements are supplementary food. They are additional to your food, never in place of. They always go in between bites of your food, literally. You want to have some of your bites of your food, swallow some of your vitamins, have some more food. If you're taking your vitamins and supplements any other way, they're probably not being as effective for you. So think about that and rearrange some things to make that more effective for you. I hate for people to buy expensive vitamins, expensive supplements. Some of these things are $50, $60, $80 a bottle for some of the things y'all are buying. Do you want to literally throw that down the toilet by wasting it? I sure don't. So we want to take vitamins and supplements in between bites of food. I've told y'all this before. What if you're fasting? Skip your vitamins. You skipped your food, skip your vitamins. It's that simple. Okay? Questions about any of that this morning? Don't ask me anything about cars and spark plugs and gas. I'm not as knowledgeable there. I know just enough to get me in trouble. But if you have food, nutrition questions, throw them in the comments and I will answer those for y'all. Anybody else with a question? All right, I don't see any questions popping up here. I do try to watch later in the day for people that catch the replay. So if you have a question and you want to throw something in, feel free to do that. I'll usually come back later in the day and answer you back. But I have patience to see in the meantime. So this is Jenny Gallagher with Keto Nurses and Joyful Heart Healthcare. Glad y'all dropped by for our chat this morning. I'll see y'all next Tuesday morning at 9.